Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair, they teamed again, their second time teaming up together on TV. Hopefully a sign of them eventually working on opposite sides of the ring at WrestleMania this year, after Bianca wins the Royal Rumble. But they lost to Bayley and Carmella after Carmella's sommelier got involved again. He distracted Sasha, who popped him in the face, but when she turned around, Carmella hit a float over facebuster and she pinned the Smackdown Women's Champion. And that should earn her one more match against Sasha Banks at the Royal Rumble, which is looking like a night of rematches right now, at least on the SmackDown side. Carmella looked good in her last match with Sasha. I think she impressed a lot of people. It might have been the best match of her career, honestly. So if they want to run that back one more time, I don't see any obvious other opponent for Sasha to kind of run through at the Rumble right now. So if they are going to do that, then I have no issue with that. But the big news on the show was that Sonya Deville is back. She's back on WWE television. She is back on the SmackDown brand. And with no explanation at all, nothing yet, after losing a Loser Leaves WWE match back at Summerslam to Mandy Rose, they showed her walking through the backstage area, and all the wrestlers were kind of lined up, just kind of standing around, because I guess that's what they do backstage at these shows. Everybody just stands around like an idiot. So they were all standing around, and I did spy Big E to come back to him again. He was wearing a Bludgeon Brothers t-shirt, which was very cool. It would be cool. I could see him going into like 4 different wardrobe changes throughout the night just to try to get himself into camera frame for different segments, wearing a different Brody Lee shirt each time. But there she was. She never cut a promo or said anything. They just showed her walking, and it was like, wow, look at this, Sonya Deville. And they had Corey Graves on commentary. All he said was that she has been reinstated to the SmackDown roster. And that was it. And they're going to have to do a better job than that. You know, it's weird. I literally just answered a question from somebody on the New Year's stream on Thursday night who sent in an email question asking me, you know, how would you book a Sonya Deville return to WWE? And then boom, 24 hours later, she is back on TV. That is eerie. Now, my idea, for those who missed the stream, was, and I didn't know when she would even be coming back. I didn't expect her back this soon. I mean, I know she's been gone for a few months, but I thought she would be gone a little bit longer. So my idea was, look, you've got a match that seems to be building, you know, Sasha, or not Sasha, but Asuka and Charlotte. I think we may be headed for a WrestleMania rematch between those two. And if so, I would hope Asuka can avenge her loss from WrestleMania 34 and she can get a big win over Charlotte. And the night after WrestleMania, which in the past has been reserved for a big return or a big debut, or some big angles, you have Sonya Deville show up, unannounced, and she beats the crap out of Asuka and leaves her laying and makes a statement in her first night back that she is now going to be on Monday Night Raw, which is the same brand that Mandy Rose is on. I would still keep them on the same brand, even if they're not doing anything together at first. But right out of the gate, after Asuka has just dispatched of everybody with any kind of name in that Raw Women's division, now Sonya Deville is back. And now she has the chance to really shine on her own. Because character-wise, she was doing the best work of her career before that SummerSlam match, before she went away. You know, and in the ring, she's fine. But, I mean, as far as the heel work that she was doing over the summer, that was the best stuff she's done her entire life. And it's a shame that that momentum had to stall, but I'd like to see her kind of get back into that. So that was my idea. Very basic, but I thought that would be a good spot for her to be in, and I would have moved her over to the other brand, but I would have at least tried to explain, or had her come on TV and explain how it is that she lost a Loser Leaves Town match, but suddenly she's back on TV. I would have at least made some kind of attempt, either for her or the announcers, or Adam Pearce, or somebody to explain to the audience. I know we've been conditioned to just think that these stipulations don't mean a fucking thing. And in my foolishness, I would like for them to at least try to explain things. Yeah, say that Mandy, for example, Mandy Rose allowed her to come back. So Sonya wanted to come back, but they needed Mandy's permission. Despite all their bad blood and all their history together, Mandy Rose was, she was the bigger person, and she told WWE management that she didn't mind if they welcome back Sonya Deville. Or say that Sonya had to take a pay cut to come back or something. She's going to have to earn her keep. She's going to have to prove herself. This woman took her pay was cut in half. Something. We haven't gotten that return promo yet. Maybe it'll happen on TV this week. But the way that Corey Graves just kind of threw it out there on commentary makes me think they're not going to say anything. It's just that, well, she's back. She was gone. It wasn't a loser leaves for a few months. Loser takes a vacation. It was loser leaves the company, but I don't know. We'll see if they bother to say anything about it this week. So what makes this even more interesting, though, is the fact that now all of a sudden I thought before you had two choices that realistically could have or should have won that Women's Royal Rumble. The one I would go with and the one I would still go with, which is Bianca Belair to set up the match with Sasha Banks. You could go with Bayley if you wanted to go with her, because she and Sasha still have not had that elusive WrestleMania match. If you want to kind of put a button on that whole feud, I don't think you need to. I really don't think it's necessary. But I suppose you could do that. You could have Bayley win the Royal Rumble and say, "You're not done with me yet, Sasha," and we get the big, WrestleMania match in the big stadium. But all of a sudden, with Sonya Deville being back, you've got to put her on that list as a possibility to win the Royal Rumble. And have Sonya Deville go on to be the one to challenge Sasha for the championship at WrestleMania. Right? I mean, I would still go with Bianca. That way, whoever wins at Mania between her and Sasha, and Sasha may retain. But whoever wins at WrestleMania then would have a strong heel challenger in Sonya Deville coming out of that show. So I haven't changed my mind on who I think should win, but now you've got to put Sonya's name on the list as you think about, okay, who realistically could win or should win the Women's Royal Rumble. It just so happens that all three women come from the Smackdown. I'm not even thinking about any of the women from the Raw brand because, that division to me is in just fucking shambles. So the three women that I pick as possibilities for that Rumble win all come from SmackDown. There was a terribly unfunny Street Profits segment in the ring. They were doing their New Year's Smoketacular. I didn't see Matt Riddle anywhere. But thankfully, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode showed up. And who the fuck ever thought you would hear me utter those words? Thank God for Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode. They did an injury angle with Montez Ford where they attacked his leg and they beat on his leg with a steel chair over and over again. Then in the back, Kayla Braxton cornered them for an interview. And they talked about wanting to go after the SmackDown Tag Team titles. They were wearing t-shirts with a logo and a name that said Dirty Dogs. DAWGS. God. Like Dudley Boys with a Z at the end, or Hardy Boys. At least with the Hardy Boys, they were young guys, right? That was the thing at the time. I don't know. Dolph Ziggler and Bob, how old are they now? They're both over 40. I think both of them are either 40 or north of 40 years old. If that's going to be their name, do they really have to be Dogs, DAWGS? I don't know. But it looks like that may be their new name. I think Dolph may have said it in the promo, but it was on their shirts. So that may be their new team name. It's interesting, first Bobby Roode was part of the Dirty Heels in TNA with Austin Aries. Great team, by the way. Now he's part of the Dirty Dogs with Dolph Ziggler. And it occurred to me that TNA run, was part of the Dirty Heels, came around the same time that Bruce Pritchard was in charge of creative. So maybe it is Bruce who has some kind of obsession with the word dirty. Like he's done some of the booking in recent months. He's done the booking dirty. Maybe it was his idea. Doesn't change the fact that they have no tag team division on that brand. Even even when they get Jimmy Uso back, which could be happening any week now. Jimmy in August said that he was hopeful to be back in January, and guess what? It's January, so I think you're going to start to hear about Jimmy Uso, or maybe he'll just pop up on TV one day. He's probably going to be back very, very soon. Even when they get him back, they'll have the Usos, the Street Profits, the Dirty Dogs, and they'll have Cesaro and Nakamura. And I guess, I don't know, Corbin's Knights of the Douche, if we ever see them wrestle on TV, which we haven't yet. Maybe, I guess they could be a team in that division. They could always make Otis and Chad Gable more of a regular team. I mean, if you do that, then you'll have at least a decent number. I still can't say that. I mean, that is still a very just god-awful tag team division. I'm sorry. But at least then you'd have a few more teams if they did that. You still got to add teams. I mean, even the NXT tag team division is not overly strong, but you got to find a team or two from somewhere to try to boost that division. I told you what they need to do. I've said it over and over again. They're not going to do it. They're not going to merge the two divisions. They're not going to do it. They absolutely should. They absolutely should merge them and have one set of champions that floats, just like they do with the women's tag team titles. I don't know why they don't just do it with the men, but they're not going to. So this is what you're left with. The title match is official for this Friday. It will be Ziggler and Rude challenging the Street Profits. I'm thinking we're going to get a title change, if for no other reason, because they did that injury angle with Montez Ford. That seems to me like they've just given them a built-in excuse to lose. So I think we're going to get new champions on Friday night.